As many of you probably know, I have a lot of cars. Honestly, I have too many. We just got to counting the other night while we were out here cleaning up shop after we were done recording, and I realized I have 12, or I had over 12 cars. I had 13. I've recently came to the realization, or honestly probably a while ago, that I have got way too many irons in the fire. Let's be honest. 1, 2, 3, like, there's just so many cars around here. So little time and so much content to make, you know? I've realized I've been making some pretty repetitive content, and I think it's time that we try to stray away from that. And I know that you guys know this is my job and I work on these things, flip them, buy and sell. Now it's time for us to kind of level things up and, you know, start to focus on one thing at a time and try to just push the full build through. I can't have projects accumulating like this. We did recently go through and kick out like the last 10% on a couple of cars to make them drivable and enjoyable, like my Drift twin turbo over here and this convertible. So honestly, today the first thing we're going to mess with is that convertible. We have like 3 little things left, and I just want to get it squared away so we can get a hold of Eric and he can come pick it up. That drops 1 car out of my yard. If you guys can't tell, we're missing something right here. The blue yellow car that's been sitting here, that's front half's now over there, we just carried or flipped that rear end up so some guy can scrap it. So there's 2 cars down. As many of you know, we've been doing this NATT swap in my slick top, which is actually supposed to be going over in this DN1 twin turbo back here. And well, I have such high aspirations for this build, mainly because I want to get this car on the road, I want to drive it, and I want to enjoy it. And I want to get it fixed. But at the same time, I'm struggling to do these projects because my funds are all caught up in all these projects. So honestly, we're about to just liquidate and we're going to try to drop down to like 6 cars. I know that's crazy, but it's beyond due, it's beyond ready to happen, and it's time that we make it happen. So for those of you that have watched this NATT swap, we just got it fired up. We know the engine runs, it just has lifter tick, it needs timed, and needs all coolant and fluids and stuff situated. I'm kind of torn now of just throwing this motor in the DN1 and trying to send it on its way, since we know it's good. Our swap series is pretty much over, other than, you know, doing a final 10% gauges and all that kind of video. This is where the frustration comes in on my side, that I make all these videos for you guys, get you guys, you know, caught up into something, and then for me to just go ahead and just tear down that whole idea and that plan behind the scenes because I'm frustrated. Well, yeah, that's pretty much what happens like every other week here. Every plans change, things change, and ideas change. So we're in the process also of cleaning and re-renovating the shop, trying to make it be the most efficient shop that we can have, where we know where everything's at. We can get to you guys accurately on parts, what we got, different inventory, different, you know, price points for different conditions, items. Try to get straightened up around here. Being a one-man show, it is a little stressful, but I do need to get the order operations and the process down so we can move forward. So we took the ECU back out of this to go in the drift car, obviously, so we can fire it up and bring it around. This is a big thing that kind of stresses me out. I love this car. I love the chassis number. I love the uniqueness of it. It's chassis number 3333. I don't think I'll ever come across something like this again. I just think it's super neat and unique at that. Just unique VINs are not common in any way, shape, or form. So that's why I'm just kind of so in shock and awe over this car. This is being used for panels. The rear rail and trunk is fixing the slick top. This thing, the front is all just crushed to crap. Terrible car, good for parts. So that's the 3rd car off the list. Silver car, it's only good for parts. It's got bad Ohio title, it's rusty. That's 4 down. The 240, that's a whole story in itself. That's just an absolute money pit. If you guys have a 240, or if you know, you know. The kicker with this car, it's a super nice car, you know, other than the tan interior. I mean, tan interior is nice, it's just not favorable. This chassis has some goodies on it that we want, and we're actually going to swap over to one of our cars and bring this back a little more OEM-esque. The kicker for this thing is I was really on the fence about parting this thing out for a while because of the bad engine that was not expected. The body on this thing is really just less than favorable. It's got beat up fenders. It's got this rust hole down here. It's got a rebuilt title and it's got this rust crust right here. Being a 95, it's a low production number, let alone this color. So it makes me just feel obligated to save it. Let's just say I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. I have this internal conversation with myself every day. And well, it's time for us to do something with the Nissan Junkyard that we have recently accumulated. Let's actually move on to the vert. Let's go grab a jump pack and stuff. Let's pull this thing up here so we can get underneath of it. We have a wheel to swap so we can make the fourth, make the full set. We need to put some new front rotors on it because these things are absolutely clapped and they shake very badly. On top of that, we actually need to cut down our brake pedal in here because it's still an automatic pedal and it's way too wide. Sorry for the crazy long intro. I just have to get you guys in my position. But yeah, if you guys didn't know, I also sell Z parts. Hit me up on Insta, you know, I might have it. I've got quite a bit around here. Well, that was pretty anticlimactic. I've never heard this thing auto lock before. That was cool. Yeah, that stinking carrier bearing on the drive shaft is terrible. That thing shakes so bad. Now we actually need to go grab some boards, put under the front tires, so we can actually get it high enough to lift it. Now we're in the air, let's start pulling our front wheels. Yikes. So I think we're gonna need 17 or 19 mil to remove this caliper. Yeah, you can just tell how rough that thing is. Gee whiz. Before we grab our tooling, let's grab some rotors. You can see here, this wheel actually fell off. It has a flat spot, and I assume that is why this thing is all clapped. Well, this rotor is significantly better, I would say, in the grand scheme, versus this one. Oh my gosh, that's so bad. I still can't believe. This one's got way more of a lip on the edge too. We've got two 18 or 19 mil bolts, and you also want to pull these two 12 mil so this bracket has enough to shake and move around so you can actually pull the caliper off. Basically, as we hold the caliper here off to the side, slide the rotor out from the caliper. Oh yeah, you can see them terrible grooves on the pad. That's bad. There we go. Now we've mated the two back together. Let's bolt the caliper back up. Let's throw our wheel back on, and then we should be at the final stage. Only one more wheel to remove and swap out. I can't remember if it's the driver or the passenger side we still have to do. What side is it, Tana? Scared of the car lowering down. Little chicken dog. It's the driver's side. For the final drop back onto the ground. Alright, I don't think we should ever have to pull a wheel off of this thing again. Before we get on to cutting our brake pedal down, we actually have to run 20 minutes over to the next town and check out our 60th house. Not literally, but pretty close. We've probably looked at 40 houses in the past 2 years, so fingers crossed that we see something nice. Wah, wah, wah. No dice today, once again. Oh well, let's continue with cutting our brake pedal. So if you're doing this when you got everything still in the car, I recommend you grab like an old towel that you don't care about, something that you know can catch all the sparks and potentially save your car. Although I'm pretty certain that if you don't use a towel, you're not going to hurt anything. This just helps from any spark just sitting there and melting your carpet. You don't have to go too crazy with the towel. Basically, you just want it in direct line like this, because you're going to be cutting like this, so your sparks will be going one way. You just want to make sure that they don't camp out on your carpet. Let's pull the brake pedal cover off so we can get a little bit more visual on our canvas here. So basically, we're just going to chop it kind of like this. We're going to cut this as a whole off, and we're going to keep this little section over here. There's actually like a reinforcement right here on the back. You can grind that down and buy a manual brake pedal cover and just slip it over. However, we're actually just going to cut this down. We're going to slide it over the cut portion, and we will cut the other side to fit, so that way it kind of goes with that curvature, or angle I should say. Grab our grinder, let's chop this thing. Sitting too long so you don't just burn through your towel. Now this is where I recommend to grab like an actual grinding wheel. You can come back and you can kind of touch all this up and take that sharp edge off of it. That's why we put the towel down. That little bit could have been your carpet. Now we don't have to have the issue of pushing our clutch and hitting our brake pedal by accident at the same time. That should do it. So let's slip this part on. Let's get an idea about where we need to cut this. So now our sharp edge is fully covered. We actually need to go grab a razor blade so we can chop this like that. You can round your edges a little bit. I'm just going to leave it like that. Let's be honest, that's extremely better than it was. And since we have a little bit of pedal left, let's see if we can just reuse this pedal cover on the clutch pedal here. That should definitely work. At least we got to reuse it somewhat. Now that our pedal situation is all fixed, honestly, part of me is about to take this thing on a drive. The only other real test thing that we have to swap our ECU to see if we can run an auto ECU on a manual harness. Maybe bleed the brakes just to give it a one more over. That's literally all that comes to mind. Oh yeah, carrier bearing. We'll include the half shaft, but I guess let's clean everything up and let's go grab a 10 mil ratcheting wrench and see if we can swap these ECUs. Now we're fully swapped out. Let's turn the jump pack on. Let's see if this is something that can be done or if we just wasted our time. Okay. I actually don't see a check engine light. Sweet. That's awesome. That means we get to keep our ECU. As long as everything else works fine, that is. Oh, we went and picked up our GoPro mount. Let's go for a test drive. I'm really not even sure what I'm smelling right now, but I'm getting some whiffs of something terrible. Anytime I smell something funny when I'm driving a car, especially a Z, I always think it's the actual car itself. Well, let's go for another test drive. It's been a few days since we've done one. Honestly, a few weeks. Man, that smell is horrible. I really hope that's not me. Whatever. Guess we'll find out if we catch on fire. Smelling something burnt. It's not making me feel too comfortable. Let's just go back home. It could just be someone burning trash. I don't know. It's bad. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're on fire. I just seen smoke coming out of the shifter tunnel. We need to get this thing back ASAP. I don't know what's going on. Definitely never had an issue last time. I don't know why we're having an issue now all of a sudden. But it doesn't make me feel very good. So much for that test drive. I had high expectations for this. Yeah, since I don't know what's going on, I'm not wanting to risk it by any stretch of the imagination. Well, so much for that. I was really looking forward to that trip. I think we're about to go grab something to eat when we're back. I guess we'll kind of go over a few things that we have in mind and a couple things on our mind to help get you guys caught up, just to keep you guys in the loop. Don't want to leave you hanging. So it's the next day, and we honestly came out here, checked this thing out, because we were super sus about that smell yesterday, and turns out it was just a zip tie that we forgot to trim off, that apparently maybe a chipmunk or something's moved once it's been under the car, and it made it melt on the exhaust. So thankfully we can move forward with that and not be so stressed out like we were. But honestly, you guys, there's not a whole lot of content going on in this video. This video is more or less just me trying to be real with you guys, let you know that I've kind of screwed up, and you know, we're trying to make things right now. Yeah, I obviously have a problem with buying cars, you know. See a good deal and you just feel like you have to have it. Well, yes, that is true. We're not going to do this anymore to ourselves unless we know that we can turn and burn it. After this video is finished up and we get it edited and released to you guys today, this car is going on the chopping block. I don't mean literal chopping block, but I mean we're going to be putting the motor back in this thing ASAP. Forget the slick top build. The motor's coming right back into that thing. Don't worry about that whatsoever. This needs some attention before we put it together, so we're going to give it the little bit of attention that it deserves, get it cleaned up, and try to make this thing true again. I know you guys hear me say it all the time, and I'm sorry. It's obviously not your guys' fault. I've been broke. I don't really have much to keep the ball rolling to do anything here, and you know, I've just kind of backed myself into a corner. Today, July 1st, well, today's the 2nd technically, we're starting to turn things around, and we're going to start making all this work for us instead of us working for this. I hope that made sense. It did in my head, because these cars slave me to death. It's time to make a change. They don't all not run. I mean, shoot, I'm looking at 5 right now that'll fire up and drive away, but it's like, man, it's still so many cars to have. 5 cars. Like, if you guys only have like 2 cars, just think of what it would be like to add another 2 and then another 2. You just lose so much room. You lose sight on one project. You lose the vision on one project because you're too busy trying to cater to everything else, and it's obviously not working for us. We're trying to turn things around for the health and the sake of the channel. We've been really repetitive lately, and I'm really wanting to try to shy and turn away from that. We're still gonna have plenty of Z content, don't worry, that's my thing. But I really want to branch out and try different cars, do different builds. I'm dying to do a 2JZ and something, like, let's be real. You know, there's just a lot of cool cars out there, and I'm just sitting here limiting myself to bashing my head off the wall working on one. Originally, when it all started out, my thought process was, why not master a car so you know any and everything that could go wrong, that does go wrong, and how to fix it, especially when you're out and about. That's why I'm so comfortable traveling in these things so far away from home, because I'm nearly certain I can fix it on the go if something happens. Again, I don't want to just sit here and, you know, I already have, and make just this complete ramble talk video, but I've just been in a weird spot mentally because of all this. I'm preventing myself from growing like I should and moving forward as fast and good as I should. And I just think it's time that we take off these boundaries that we've kind of set ourselves, or lines that we've put ourselves in, and we start to bounce back from this. And for all my loyal viewers, I love you guys. I know you guys will watch regardless of what I post, but I want to spice it up for you guys, and, you know, and just show my thanks to you guys a little bit more, and by providing some more tolerable content, so to speak. Because one thing I would really love to do is just go buy $1,000 cars. Any $1,000 car. Like, it'd be a crap bucket total project. I don't care. It's $1,000. Like, that's something that I would love to do. I really enjoy buying cheap cars and making something out of them. So why don't we just kind of wrap up our Z stuff, get all this kind of sorted out. We'll still be parting out Z's and stuff. That'll be our main game. Don't worry. We want to try new things and broaden our horizons, so to speak. And there's no way that I could really get this across to you guys without making just like this annoying talk video, but it had to happen. It was bound to happen eventually too. We also have some new equipment on the way that should significantly help the viewing pleasure for you guys. I'm sure you guys have heard plenty of this noise, or I'm doing my best to replicate it right now. So basically my GoPro, it like can extend 3 times the size of what it is. except it's not telescoping. It all smushes together. So you guys constantly hear popping and creaking over there on your side. I actually did my due diligence and I ordered 2 new mounts for the GoPro. One, a selfie stick, actual fixed one that's not going to make noise. And we ordered a Jaws attachment so I can start clipping you guys places and having like a bendable mount to show you guys a little more in depth or what we're doing. Because I've only got 2 hands, let's be honest. So if I'm trying to use one hand to hold a bolt and the other hand to use a ratchet, where's the GoPro? We're going to upgrade that. We got a few things, a couple new specialty tools coming in so we can move on with engine building, because that's something I really want to do here. I literally have like 8 core VGs back here. I just kind of want to give you guys an update of where we stand, what's going on, so you guys aren't really left in the dust or, you know, just left out there in limbo, not knowing what's going on. Again, I'm sorry for all of the repetitive content, and you guys can expect us to start pumping out somewhat different content, but that gray and white Z are about to both get finished up so we can, you know, try to turn and burn them and get on to brighter and better things. Now that our junkyard is situated, we kind of know where to go in the future, know what to do, get rid of some of these Z's, get this 240 back on the road, get my Buick on the road, get the slick top on the road, get my truck fixed. These are really big priorities for me over my, you know, 95 cars that I have. So why don't we start taking priority there? I think we're going to wrap it up here, you guys. We're supposed to go over to Brad's today. We're actually going to be doing some other VR4 or a 3000 GT content, helping his son swap a motor and get his car running. And let's change the narrative here. Let's start making some plays. Let's start making things work. Let's grow this channel, and who knows, maybe we can finally take that next step that I've really wanted to take and design some merch. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you to all of you holding it down for me, and thank you for listening to my ramble and rant. If you guys liked the video, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe below, as it really helps support the channel, helps bump us up in the algorithms, and to get our content out there so other people can see it and join in on the channel. Thank you guys again so much, and until next time, peace.